Hey folks, Eric Stakelbeck here. Welcome to the Watchman Newscast. Islam is taking a bite out of the Big Apple. Zohran Mamdani, the new Muslim mayor of New York City, was sworn in on a Quran last week, and his Islamist supporters wasted no time flexing their muscles. This was the scene in Times Square on January 2nd, just one day after Mamdani took office.
قل يا عبادي الذين أسرفوا على أنفسهم لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله إن الله يغفر الذنوب جميعا. الله أكبر الله أكبر.
You can expect a lot more of that over the next 4 years with Mamdani in office. This recent headline from the Washington Post sums it up. In Mamdani's New York, Muslims become a political and demographic force. According to the article, Muslims are now rising to prominence and becoming a distinct political force. In November, they formed the backbone of Zohran Mamdani's mayoral election victory, ushering in a new era for New York and the city's changing demographics. Now, Mamdani claims that 1 million Muslims now reside in New York City. He may be inflating that number a bit, but folks, it is very clear that the demographics of NYC have changed dramatically in the 25 years since Islamic terrorists attacked the city and destroyed the World Trade Center on 9/11. This huge influx of foreign-born Muslims into New York was a major reason Mamdani won the mayor's office. 62% of all foreign-born residents voted for Mamdani. Are you ready for the Islamic call to prayer 5 times a day in America's largest city and financial capital? Because it's already happening in Manhattan. Watch.
I never thought in my life I was going to be here, hearing this in the middle of New York.
Muslims in New York are clearly feeling very confident with their man in office. The city's Jews, on the other hand, are extremely concerned, and they should be. Mamdani is a longtime anti-Israel activist and an apologist for Hamas. On cue, on his first day in office, Mamdani immediately revoked a previous executive order banning boycotts against Israel and another that held anti-Semites accountable for their rhetoric. Now, people seem shocked by this, but they really shouldn't be. What else would you expect from someone who has spent years palling around with radical Islamists and anti-Semites? That's who Mamdani is. He's also a communist, not a democratic socialist like he claims. He's an old-school communist, as he made very clear with this line from his swearing-in speech last week. Watch.
We will replace the frigidity of rugged individualism with the warmth of collectivism.
Ah, the warmth of collectivism. That's pure, unadulterated communism. Karl Marx couldn't have said it any better. The so-called warmth of collectivism has killed tens of millions of people in communist China, Cuba, the former Soviet Union, North Korea. The list goes on, but let's try it in New York City and see how it goes. Folks, prediction: this will not end well for New York City. We can only pray that the damage done during Mamdani's reign will be minimal. And prayer is the key for New York and for America. As Islam spreads across the West, from America to Europe to Canada to Australia, most Western leaders are unwilling to deal with the threat. In fact, they've welcomed it in through mass migration. Pastor Andrew Cedra says this is a big mistake, and he knows this firsthand. He's the founder and lead pastor of Echo Church in Sydney, Australia, but his family hails from Egypt. This gives him deep personal insight into the Islamic world and the devastating consequences of unchecked Islamism. I sat down with Pastor Cedra at Turning Point's AmFest event in Phoenix to discuss mass Muslim migration, terror attacks in the West, and whether Islam is compatible with Western civilization. Take a look.
Andrew Cedric, great to have you with us, my friend. And hey, your family is originally from Egypt. You know the Islamic world very well. It seems here in the West we have a growing problem of Islamism taking root. Where you're living right now, Australia, we've seen some vicious terror attacks recently. Are Western governments making a huge mistake letting in waves, large numbers of Muslim migrants, and then not demanding that they assimilate. And can they assimilate? Is Islam compatible with Western civilization?
The reality is Islam is not here to immigrate. Islam is here to invade.
Yeah.
Islam is not here to live and let live. Islam is here to take over. Islam is not here to coexist and play religious coexistence games. Islam is here to divide and conquer. And the proof is in the pudding. You literally saw just before Christmas the horrific attacks when two Muslim men opened fire on 2,000 Jews on their holy sacred day of Hanukkah. I have literally been warning Australia for the last 3 years. You cannot just bring Islam. You cannot just play religious tolerance and inclusivity and diversity. And diversity is our strength. And eventually, after the Muslims screaming after October 7th in Sydney, Australia, gas the Jews, we're now seeing the literal manifestation of the words, which is gas the Jews. When Islam tells America, death to America, death to America and Iran, they actually mean it. In the last 3 years, we have seen multiple Jewish synagogues in Australia, from Sydney to Melbourne, get bombed. So you better believe the tourists when you hear them tell you something.
No doubt, Pastor Andrew, so well said. And this explosion of anti-Semitism is demonic. It's almost like the gates of hell were opened on October 7th. And the demonic activity, the spiritual battle we're locked in, and Israel and the Jewish people seem to be the dividing line at the center of it. Even here in America, we see the Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens wing.
Radical comments, radical, the Jews and Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. I'm like, honey, the biggest threat to Christendom is Islam. How many people Jews have killed in the history of Christendom? Maybe 100K in the first 200 years during the persecution of Christians. But historically, Islam has killed at least 100 million Christians.
No doubt.
From the Ottoman Empire to the different Islamic caliphate, to the taking over of Egypt, to the taking care of over Turkey. So I'm a Coptic Christian. We were the initial pagans when Mark came to Egypt in 50 AD. He preached the gospel and there was a massive revival. There was a massive revival in Egypt to the point that by 321 AD, 90% of Egypt was Christian. Islam took over Egypt by the force in 631 with Muhammad Omar ibn al-As by force, war, jihad, and conquering. And in the last 1400 years, Christian Egyptians, the Coptic Christians, were literally genocided. So Egypt went from 90% Christian to 10% Christian, from 0% Muslim to 90% Muslim. And I'm one out of the 1 of 10 of Christians that fled the Islamic world of Egypt to the Christian world for refuge, to warn America, to warn Australia what happened to Egypt, what happened to Libya, what happened to Algeria, what happened to Turkey, what happened to Syria, what happened to Lebanon. Lebanon is now reaching a point where the Christians are minority. So
the city of Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus.
So all the ancient world, the Church of Constantinople, the Church of Jerusalem, the Church of Alexandria, the Church of Antioch, all of them are now gone. So what makes you think Islam is the biggest threat to America? I'm not really sure. When Tucker Carlson said in America First, oh, it's disgusting watching Americans and Republicans attack Muslims. Oh, this is disgusting. I'm like, no, Islam has killed a lot of Christians. In fact, Islam fundamentally hates America. Islam is about Sharia law. Sharia law is fundamentally incompatible with any Christian-free civilization. America is about life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Islam is about jihad, death, and the pursuit of war. So when he says Muslim American, that's like saying trans woman a woman. That's an oxymoron. It doesn't actually make sense if he actually takes the time to uncover Islam. And then he said that's equivalent to having a race war. I'm like, dude, Islam is not a race.
Exactly.
Islam is a religion. So I'm not really sure his words are not really true. They're not factually accurate. They're not accurate when it comes to Islam, the Quran, the Hadith, the current events of watching 15 Jews die.
He's never read those, by the way, those texts. I highly doubt.
He's kind of a smart guy. He works for CNN or Fox News. I would imagine him to be a little bit more educated, right?
You would think. But he seems historically ignorant, theologically ignorant, and geopolitically ignorant.
And What about Europe, UK? There is literally Islamic Sharia law across UK, across Australia. I might get arrested next year because of what they call Islamophobia. So when I listen to him as a Christian, an ancient Coptic Christian who literally fled the Middle East for their life, for us being genocided, I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm not really sure how's Qatar a friend to Christendom.
Yeah.
It's very confusing.
And a better friend than Israel, according to him.
No, it doesn't make any sense. Historically, practically, philosophically, morally, theologically. Just Google the Quran and the Hadith, please.
You're raised in Cairo. Tell us about that. Tell us about that journey, Pastor Andrew. Your father, and literally, there were jihadists who wanted to kill you personally, your brother, and your family. Tell us more about that.
So we came to Australia as religious refugees fleeing the Islamic world of Egypt in 2007. The reason we came because my dad was a gospel preacher. He was a pastor. And the thing about Egypt, you have apostasy laws and you have blasphemy laws. Blasphemy laws are designed to ensure if any Christian, a church, or a pastor speak about Jesus being Lord outside of the four walls of church, if you ever speak Jesus outside of the four walls of church, if you ever proclaim the gospel in the public square, if you ever critique Islam or criticize Muhammad, you'll go to jail for 5 years and you'll get tortured and killed there, or you'll get killed by Muslim Brotherhood on the street. So I grew up in a world where it was illegal to have revival.
Yeah.
It was illegal to preach the gospel. Fulfilling the great commission of going into all the world and making disciples of all the nations was literally a criminal offense. So I came to America and the West. I was like, oh my gosh, you can preach the gospel.
Yeah.
You can convert people. You can build the church. So that is the world I grew up in. So you had blasphemy laws and apostasy laws. So apostasy laws were designed to make sure if any Muslim becomes a Christian, they will get killed on the street by a fatwa, by a Muslim Brotherhood imam, or they will go to jail and they'll get tortured and die. So it was illegal for a Muslim to ever become a Christian, but a Christian can become a Muslim. So that's why I call Islam a cult. It's not just a cult, it's a death cult.
Wow.
So you had apostasy laws and blasphemy laws. So when I come to the West and I find people saying Islam is a religion of peace, Muslims are nice people, I'm like, I love Muslims, I just don't like Islam.
Yeah. Can you talk about your personal stories too, your experiences with that, Andrew? God literally stayed the hand of potential assassins who came against you, your family. Tell us, it's amazing, it's miraculous. Tell us more about that.
So a few years before we came to Australia in 2007, my dad converted a particular Muslim woman to Christianity. We were not trying to convert her. She was escaping her Muslim husband. So we used to love her, give her food, shelter, finances. Because we have showed her the love of Jesus and we shared the gospel with her, she ended up becoming a Christian and getting baptized. What we didn't know at the time is that Muslim woman, her husband was part of Muslim Brotherhood, which is like the Hamas of Egypt. So her husband was very angry and furious at my dad for taking away what is most precious to him, which is his wife. So he decided as a consequence, as a revenge for my dad converting his wife to Christianity, which is the worst thing you can ever do to a Muslim, he was going to take revenge on my dad by taking away what is very precious to him, which was me and my younger brother, John. So he decided, because he was part of Muslim Brotherhood, he was going to get 2 of his Muslim Brotherhood team and friends. He was going to kidnap us, behead both of us, and then send both our bodies and heads as in a bag as a revenge to my dad taking away what is most precious to him. So he carried out the plan. He came 7 a.m. in the morning as me and my younger brother, John, used to go to school on the yellow bus. Him and the 2 other Muslim Brotherhood men, they came to kidnap us and behead us. But as me and my younger brother John were about to go to school at 7 a.m. in the morning, the Muslim Brotherhood men and the 2 other Muslim Brotherhood men, all of them, they froze and they could not move. They froze in time, space, and they could not move at all until me and my younger brother John, we went to the yellow bus, the doors were shut. The bus drove to the end of the street and the bus disappeared. And the moment the bus disappeared, they started to move again. The guy was like, what the heck is going on? This is crazy. We have killed so many pastors. We have beheaded so many Christians. These young kids are like chickens. We should be able to kidnap them.
Right.
You know, like, look what they did October 7th. It's a very easy job. And it's not out of character of Islam. So he came a few days or a few weeks later to carry the exact same plan, and he got 2 other Muslim Brotherhood men. The exact same way, the 3 Muslim Brotherhood men, they come to our apartment, they stay downstairs to wait for me and my younger brother John as we go to the school bus, the yellow school bus to go to school. This time, as they were about to get out of the car to kidnap me and my younger brother John, the 2 Muslim Brotherhood men and the Muslim Brotherhood men, the 3 of them, they felt a power and a force take their hand and put it behind their head, and they froze and they could not move at all. Wow. This power and force held them in time and space for until me and my younger brother John, we went to the school bus, the doors were shut, the bus drove to the end of the street, and the bus disappeared. And the moment the bus disappeared, they started to move again.
Wow.
So see, we didn't know this was happening. If I knew this was happening, I wouldn't be going to school today.
You had no idea. You're on the bus minding your business. You had no idea.
Kid, I was
Yeah.
8 or 12. I was
Yeah.
like in year 2. My brother, I think, was in kindergarten. So I had no idea what was happening. If I knew this was happening, I wouldn't go to school. I would say, "Hey, Mom, can I please skip to school today?" I think she would have said yes. A few people want to behead me. I think it's a good enough reason.
Yeah.
No, the reason why this was happening, because the evil, wicked Muslim Brotherhood men came to my dad a few weeks later. He came and he told my dad, "Your God saved you, your kids, your family, your children from my evil and wicked hand." He became a Christian. He got baptized, and now him and his whole entire family are Christians.
Tell us more about the Muslim Brotherhood, how they operate, and why they're so dangerous to the West.
So the Muslim Brotherhood, they're already in America. They're in Florida, they're in Texas. They are running proxy war operations across the globe. In fact, what most people don't know, like Tucker, Muslim Brotherhood fabricated the Free Palestine movement in order to deceive the West with their empathy to support Islam.
Yeah.
You saw in 1979 the fall of Iran and the communists, when the Muslims are united against the Persian Empire, and eventually the whole country became communist. The Muslims know if they align with the LGBTQ ABC, that they are able over time to get rid of Christianity, get rid of Christendom, get rid of conservatives, get rid of the Republican Party, and then they're left with the gays and the LGBTQ and the they, them, the meow meow and all this weird shit. And before you know, like, this is awesome. They don't have kids. They're weak. They're gay. We can finish.
They're godless.
Days.
And they're godless.
So Muslims love the gays.
Yeah.
Queens for Palestine, gays for Gaza, chicken for KFC.
Useful idiots, as Lenin once called them.
Exactly. So what you're seeing at the moment, the Muslim Brotherhood have crafted a plan and a strategy to take over the West through immigration.
Yeah. And the left is welcoming them in. This unholy alliance between the left and Islamism.
It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it does make a lot of sense when you look philosophically. Both violent Islam and godless leftism, both the sexually perverted Muhammad following and violent Allah worshipping Islam and the LGBT sex cult, they both hate America because they both hate Christianity.
Yes.
And they both hate Christianity because they both hate freedom. Because little do people know, freedom is not an American concept. It's actually a Christian concept.
Yes.
And you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Whoever the Son sets free is free indeed. So freedom is fundamentally a Christian concept, and that unholy alliance you're seeing at the moment, Michigan, New York is becoming New York Stan.
Yeah.
London is becoming London Stan. You just saw the attack in Sydney. Sydney is now Sydney Stan.
Yeah.
You are seeing in time the ungodly, unholy alliance between Islam and the left. And their goal is to destroy America, destroy Australia, destroy the Christian West.
And last question. You're obviously based in Australia, preaching boldly there. Now we have the Australian government in the wake of the Sydney massacre on Bondi Beach, talking about new, more stringent hate speech laws. And maybe, just like in the UK, the police will come to your door late at night and say, "Hey, we didn't like that tweet. We didn't like that Facebook post." How concerned are you about that? You're not going to stop what you're doing.
I'm not going to stop.
But is that kind of the new normal in the West?
It is the new normal. Right now, across Australia, you're watching the rise of what they call Islamophobia laws. As of yesterday,
It's crazy.
our godless socialist, they, them, Islam sympathizer Prime Minister
Yeah.
is about to pass what he calls hate preaching laws.
Yeah.
So he's now putting me in the same category as a violent Islamic imam who's calling for the deaths of Jews. Muhammad killed his enemies. Jesus loved his enemies. I'm not after killing people. I'm just after preaching to people. So the reality is, in the next year, I might get arrested or sued or raided by the anti-terrorism police because of what I say. Because now they're
It's just a
saying,
biblical message. It's just a biblical message.
just talking about the supremacy of Christ,
Yeah.
just talking about the violence of Islam, just talking about Israel,
Yeah.
and what happened to me, my story will be classified as Islamophobic and hate preaching, which means now, which they're going to be considering as a crime. So they can put me in jail. So please pray for me and
Yes.
stay open. I might message you at some point.
Yes.
My wife will tell you, hey, my husband in jail. I need to come in the program. Talk to me. So, hey, we never know what's the future, but hey, God protected me.
Yes, you
I'm
did.
not going to stop speaking.
Powerful breakdown there from Pastor Andrew Cedra. Folks, he does not mince words. God bless him. You can check him out, X, Instagram, across social media. I believe he is a rising voice that God is raising up for such a time as this to sound the alarm on that twin threat we're facing here in the West, Islam and the militant radical left. It reminds me of the book of Deuteronomy. God says to the people of Israel, which God will you choose? Which God will you serve? Will it be blessings or curses? I think the Western world, America, Canada, Australia, Europe, needs to make a decision. Do you stand for the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, or don't you? This is the decision facing us in 2026 and beyond. The hour is late. Time is short. Hey, thanks so much for joining us here on the Watchman Newscast. Until next time, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace.
Hey everyone, thanks for checking out the Watchman Newscast. Make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an upload, and tap the bell icon so you're notified every time a new video is posted. And don't forget to share your thoughts, insights, and comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you back here tomorrow.